Hello everybody, and welcome back to Pokemon White. So, in the last part, we challenged the Opelucid Gym and defeated Iris, and we now have every single badge in the game. And now we can now start heading for the Pokemon League. But, however, as soon as you go through this gate, this woman will stop your progress for just a minute to let you know about a big storm that is now occurred at Route 7 after you have cleared that final gym. Yeah, and the storm seems to be different from a natural phenomenon. Yeah, very different. And it is indeed so strange. And it is so strange that it is actually very important that we actually get this. Well, for those of you who care about trying to get every single Pokemon anyway, because, yeah, you're definitely gonna want to go through Route 7 again if you want to find out, if you want to find out what's been going on with that terrible storm. Yeah, what is up with that terrible storm? But anyways, yeah, now we have those two. Yeah, essentially, getting so excited for the Victory Road. But first off, yeah, now before I do that, yeah, I want to go back to Route 7 to see what is going on with that heavy storm phenomenon. Yeah. Okay, so here it is just currently raining. But now see what happens when we actually enter Route 7. Like, it just, yeah, it clears up for some reason. But then, yep, thunderstorm. And, yep, heavy rain. Yep. And now, in order to find out more about the storm, my. That Pokemon has come again too. Which one are you talking about? Now, child. Don't you go headed into the tall grass. And why shouldn't I? I'm very much strong enough to be able to handle it. That Pokemon might be too much. That might be too much for you. We'll catch cold standing around talking in this wind and rain. Yeah, probably a very good idea to head inside. It's not much, but come stay in my home a spell. Oh no, she's not a witch, is she? Oh god, is she really a witch? Oh god. Even a youngin' like yourself will catch cold if it gets soaked. If it gets soaked by that cold rain. Sit right down and have some soup. Well, why don't you? Well, if you want to get stuff, if you want to make stuff happen, then yeah, we're gonna have to sit down. Sit down and just have a rest up for a while until the storm clears up. Yeah. In the Universe region, you see, there is a Pokemon called Thunderus. That creates some thunderstorms. It flies around the region and sets loose wild winds and flashing lightnings. Have some soup now, dear. It'll warm you up. Thank you. A soup gem packed with healthy vegetables. Hey, it's delicious. Yeah, I suppose you can say it is, I guess. The heavy rain is ruining the crops I've worked so hard to raise. And if you've seen the anime, you've seen what sort of happens if those sort of legendary Pokemon mess around crops of, let's say, revival herbs. Yeah. That was essentially one of the two-parters that occurred the two-parters, yeah, that occurred. A whole 2 episodes that involved messing around some crops. Like, oh yeah, that's right. Now she tells you about when this Pokemon will start to roam around. Yeah, this is something that I will go into more of a detail. I will get into more details about this. About that. But then, as you head outside again. Oh, you heard that? Oh, is that what I think it is? Yeah, that definitely sounds like thunder to me. And as soon as it shows up, yep, it's once again creating a thunderstorm. Woo! Woo! What a storm! Yep, apparently, it's that Pokemon's doing. Yeah, and I wonder if it's the Thunderus that that woman was talking about. And it's gone. Okay, everyone. So now we got ourselves introduced to a legendary Pokemon. Are the only roaming legendary in the game. Well, actually, there are actually 2 roaming legendaries in Unova, but, however, there are version exclusives. Yeah, considering that we're playing Pokemon White, yeah, that means that we are gonna, yeah, we just encountered Thunderus. But for those of you who are playing Pokemon Black, you would instead encounter another Pokemon called Tornadus. Now, about what that woman said about that Pokemon appearing in certain routes during the certain times of day. Now, another thing I should bring up is that once that Pokemon, once that Roman legendary starts roaming around. Now, if you look at the bulletin board here, yeah, they'll say, it'll say which route, it'll tell you, where is it exactly. But however though, one may continuously re-enter and exit the same gate until the route. However, yeah, the location changes when the player exits the gate. So it may not always be entirely accurate. Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, we are gonna be going for the same route that we are actually gonna go through anyway. And there it is. Thunderstorm, and there it is. Utilizing the same legendary music from Rising and Cobalion. And there it is. Thunderus! Alright, so Thunderus here. Now Thunderus is at level 40. It is an electric and flying type. It has the ability Prankster, and it has the moves Revenge, Shockwave, Heal Block, and Agility. Now, for those of you who have encountered during Pokemon Black, will encounter Tornadus. Now, it will have the same Prankster ability. It will still have a Revenge and Agility. But instead, it will have Air Cutter and Extra Sensory. And also, Tornadus was the very first pure flying type ever made. Yeah, we don't exactly get another pure flying type until Gen 8. Yeah, is that odd? But anyways, everyone, as I was saying before, yeah, you may know. Yeah, this is essentially the moment where you want to utilize your Master Ball. Because otherwise, you're probably going to have to deal with that later on. Unless you don't want to have to deal with this multiple times. But anyways, Thunderus, the Bolt Strike Pokemon. The spikes on its tail discharge eminence bolts of lightning. It flies around the universe region, firing off lightning bolts. Why, I bet it surely does indeed. But anyways, everyone, yeah, that's it. That's that legendary already done. Yeah, considering that we just utilize that Master Ball for it. But anyway, always everyone. Now, as I was saying about the routes where the Roman legendaries will show up, but during the time of day. Now between midnight and morning, they will show up on routes 12, 13, 14, and 15. So essentially, if you really want to wake up extremely early for that, just to have an encounter in routes that you can only get to during the post game, then fine, dude. Yeah, fine. Do it. Fine. Do whatever you want. And then during the morning, it could be encountered on routes 2, 3, and also 18. Then during the daytime, it could be encountered on routes 4, 5, and 16. Then during the evenings, it could be encountered on routes 6, 7, and 8. And lastly, during at night, it could be encountered on routes 9, 10, and 11. So yeah, that is actually the only time. Yeah, this is actually the only time in the whole franchise where Roman legendaries only show up within the time of day. Excuse me. And also now Tornadus and Thunderus actually go together with one more Pokemon. But unfortunately, you're gonna need both Pokemon in one version in order for you to get it. Yeah, but I'll save that for when we get to that. But anyways, everyone, next we are going for Route 10 officially now. We have our very first, our actual new encounter on the route. The Pokemon that at first we all thought it was gonna be the evolution of Tauros, Bouffalant. Yeah, Bouffalant just really, honestly, Bouffalant just really looks like the Pokemon that would be the evolution of Tauros. But apparently no, it doesn't. Oh yeah, and also that move it just kept on using, Head Charge. Yeah, that's also another move that was also introduced within this generation. Yeah, a very strong move that does recall damage. Oh, come on. Let it work. Nope. Yeah, as you can see, the critical catch just doesn't always work. Yeah, you still have to get lucky. If you want to get not only the critical catch itself, but to also making sure that the critical catch actually works. So yeah, you still have to be relying on luck if you want to be able to utilize the critical catches like more frequently. But anyways, everyone, since we are going for Route 10 now, now the other Pokemon that you can find in this grass. Now, as you've seen already, we can once again still encounter Herdiers and Fungus, but also but this is actually the first route where you can encounter both Throat and Sock a lot more easier. So yeah, definitely utilize this time if you want to still be able to get both. Yeah, if you want to still be able to get both of them. But anyways, and also two new Pokemon also appear on this route as well. But however, both of them are version exclusives as well. But first off, now we got Bouffalant. Bouffalant, the Bash Buffalo Pokemon. They charge wildly and headbutt everything. The headbutts, the Bouffalants really do. The Bouffalants really do do charge a lot. And they can even injure themselves in the process of it. Yeah, for those of you who have also seen the anime, who have seen that one episode where it featured a ton of Bouffalants. But however, these Bouffalants will not attack you if you just so happen to have the exact same hairstyle as if you just so happen to have the exact same hairstyle as a Bouffalant. Yeah. But anyway, how is everyone? As I was saying, now the 2 new Pokemon that you can also find here that are also version exclusives. Now, during the Pokemon, if you're playing Pokemon Black, you'll be able to counter Volibee. But if you're playing Pokemon White, yep, here it is. Yeah, we're able to encounter Bouffalant! Yeah, now, I'm gonna say this as well. Yeah, just like Mifu, Ponyard, and Dino, if you want to race them, fine. But honestly, I wouldn't bother either, because, yeah, even though they may be good by themselves, but considering that we are now just about to enter the victory road at this point, it's probably not your best idea for you to use one right now. But anyways, everyone, now another new Pokemon that you can also encounter here is actually the evolution of Fungus. That is Amoonguss. But anyways, now we got Rufflet, the eaglet Pokemon. Yeah, it is an eaglet because, yeah, its evolution essentially turns itself into an eagle. But anyways, everyone, now, if it just happen to go through the dark grass, then that's when you can encounter the evolution of Fungus, Amoonguss. And then if you're encountering Pokemon for the rustling grass, you can still encounter wild Stoutland and more Emolgas, and of course more Frozen Socks. And also, if it just happen to get lucky and have Pokemon swarming here, now you can actually find wild Tyrox. Now you can actually find wild Tyrox swarming here. So, and considering for those of you who know your Tyrox at this point, yeah, definitely know that you need at least 3 Tyrox. At least 3 Tyrox if you want to get every single one of its evolutions. So yeah, if you just happen to get Tyrox swarming here, yeah, you may have to spend the entire day here just so you can try to evolve them into the Pokemon that you actually want your Tyrox to evolve into. Oh wow, man, that crit almost killed my Substrike there. Jeez. Okay, can I please get you so that I don't have to bother healing right now? Come on, please do it, Fro. Okay, thank you. And with that, that's all the Pokemon I'm gonna try to get for now. But anyways, Fro, the Judo Pokemon. Yeah, Fros are definitely all about them Judos. Yeah, hence why they love to, as I said before, they love to throw things. But anyways, that shall be the end for my wild encounters. That is until if we just happen to encounter the rustling grass and guess I'll say wild sock. But anyways, now before we get into our first trainer there, and I want to say this right now, the music that plays during Route 10, it is also a really great track to actually listen to. And keep in mind, this is the Pokemon Black and White are the only time that you can actually fully listen to without meeting any sort of certain conditions conditions in order for you to be able to listen to it. Yeah, for those of you who have played the sequels, yeah, you may already know what I am talking about. But anyways, everyone, now that we are on our way to the Pokemon League, which means now we're going to be encountering even much more stronger Pokemon. Like this one, for example. Yep, and now we have the evolution of Scrafty. Scrafty! Yeah, Scrafty essentially turns into an actual hoodlum. Yeah, and considering that Scrafty actually does have his own little hoodie. A hoodie. Now, oh! Wow! There you go, very nice miss with that high jump kick. But anyways, as I was saying, Scrafty actually does utilize that hoodie just so they can actually hide it. So, yeah, just so they can actually hide its a true face. Yeah, and the anime is the only time where we ever see Scrafty actually wear that like hoodie. But however, unlike Scraggy, Scrafty doesn't get not as nearly as much attention as Scraggy does. Yeah, it is more so with the fact that it is more so with the fact that Ash had his own Scraggy. Yeah, hence why we saw it a lot. But as for Scrafty, not so much with him. Yeah, and what I said about Scrafty wearing his hoodie, that was only for one episode. Yeah, and I think that was the only major appearance of Scrafty ever got. Now, Scrafty does get a few background appearances / cameos here and there, but Scrafty really doesn't get not that many appearances in the anime. Yeah. Honestly, I just wish that Scrafty was utilized more. Yeah, maybe we even got to see, Scrafty wear more of that, where Scrafty actually gets to wear that, actually gets to utilize that hoodie more often. Excuse me. But anyways, yeah, you just raise your attack and speed, and yet you're not utilizing your attack power, even though you can easily just KO my Substrika right now. Oh, never mind. I got you. Wow, I got you flinched anyway. Yeah, get your sorry ass out of here, Fracture. Oh, here it is. Yep, now we have the evolution of Tynamo. And it is also a Pokemon that also doesn't get utilized that much either. Not only anime, but also in the games either. Eelektrik. Yeah, literally its actual name is Eelektrik. Yeah, it is almost, it is essentially the type of that it is actually called. Like, wow, that is not that much creative, really. Yeah, I get it, it's an eel and it is electric type, but come on. Eelektrik, come on, man. But anyways, oh, here it is. Now we get the evolution of Shelmet. Yeah, after it loses its shell. Accelgor! Oh, wow. Wow. That crit just KO'd my Seismitoad. And as you can tell, yeah, when Shelmet actually loses that shell, in the process of the trait evolution, Accelgor actually does get a lot more faster. So it is most likely going to be attacking first. Yeah, and it even comes with agility. Yeah, just in case if any Pokemon wants to outspeed it. Yeah. Oh, and also, Accelgor also doesn't utilize the anime that much either. Yeah, there's plenty of Gen 5 Pokemon that don't really get utilized that much. Yeah, the only major appearances that we got from Accelgor was, of course, in the episode that I talked about quite a few times during this whole playthrough. Yeah, the debut appearance of Accelgor. Yeah, in the same episode where we first meet Charles, Charles in the anime. But we mostly know him as the Mighty Accelgor. And then the other major appearance that Accelgor really got was in the episode where Professor Juniper and Bianca traded their Shelmet and Carablast. Yeah, and we even got to see a double battle between Ash and Silent versus Juniper and her Bianca. With it in that trade, Bianca trades her Shelmet to get herself get herself the evolution of Carablast, which I believe we are gonna meet as we go along. I believe we are gonna be meeting that Pokemon as we go along through this route anyway. So yeah, that's also something we're gonna be encountering much later on anyway. Now, as we have a Pokemon that we've also encountered in this route so far, Bouffalant also doesn't get utilized that much in the anime at all. Bouffalant doesn't get utilized in the anime that much either. Now, well, aside from the one that aside from that one episode that I just talked about before, and also Alders from Bouffalant. Bouffalant doesn't get utilized all that much, really. Yeah, we haven't really seen much of Bouffalant anywhere else. Yeah, we don't really see much of Bouffalant anywhere else, really. And also, as you saw, yeah, I forgot that Cryogonal had Levitate. So, yeah, I thought I could damage it with Bulldoze. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a few of those abilities that you think that they probably don't have, but instead they do. Yeah, considering that I wanted to attack a Cryogonal with a physical attack. Yeah, considering that Cryogonal really does have some good special special defense. Yeah, so that's why I thought I could, just end it by utilizing my Seismitoads on Bulldoze. But anyways, now as for Rufflet and Vullaby, those two also don't get utilized that much in the anime either. Now, the only major appearance those two got were in the exact same episode that they actually debuted in. Yeah, it was more so they were having a big fight. Now we saw these two Pokemon at a daycare, and the person who's taking care of the Pokemon was very klutzy. Yeah, where we constantly saw her just trip all the time. Yeah, and with literally utilizing the exact same animation almost every time that she fell. But anyways, and I think with that said, I did that's what I'm gonna do for now, considering yeah, we're probably gonna face now against even more stronger trainers as we go along for this route. Yeah, and I'm probably gonna be doing more of this. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do more of this. Yeah, just so I can make sure that my Pokemon are good to go and whatnot. So, yeah, that's why I just want to make sure of it. But with that said, that shall be all I'm going to do for this part. And we shall continue on for this route for the next part. And so till then, I'll see you guys next time.